Thank you very much, Sophie. You're watching BBC Channel Islands. Hello there and good evening. Welcome to Tuesday's programme. Good to have your company this evening. I'm Charlie. So first tonight, they've become a popular stop smoking aid, but there's growing concern they're also encouraging children to start a damaging habit. Nicotine vaping is substantially less harmful than traditional cigarettes, but the long-term risks aren't yet clear. And as the number of young people vaping grows, politicians in Jersey will vote this week on ministers' plans to ban disposable vapes under the single-use plastics law, not just to protect the environment, but to stop the harm doctors think they do to young people's health. Emma-Jane Blackman reports.
It's meant to be a less harmful alternative to smoking, but there's growing concern single-use vapes are damaging to the planet and our health. And politicians who review environment policy are calling others to back the ban.
Littering is a very big issue, but also for the recycling, it also has many elements that are difficult, like lithium batteries to recycle, and so it's actually very expensive to do that recycling or to dispose safely, and so that's really important for the environment.
On the streets, mixed support for an outright ban.
So I don't use disposable, I have a reusable vape, so I don't have no need for disposables. So I think, yeah, if they want to get banned, they can get banned, because there's a lot of waste, isn't there? It's too much.
I use a rechargeable vape as well, and you see it at festivals and that, it's just littered everywhere. It's not on. It's not good for the environment, it's not good for anyone.
The rechargeable ones are terrible, to be fair. The oil in them tastes nothing like the disposable ones. The disposable ones would be a lot stronger, and the flavour is unbelievable. I can't stop smoking them, to be fair.
I don't like them. I've never smoked, never agreed with smoking. I think it's something that generally doesn't smell very nice and isn't good for you generally, so it's bad for the environment, so I don't have a problem with that.
Disposable e-cigarettes are seen as the most tempting for young people. They're relatively cheap and often in colourful packaging. A survey of our lifestyle habits found half of all young adults have tried vaping. And more recently, Public Health engaged with a group of Jersey teenagers and found most of them vaped daily, mostly using single-use vapes. ASH is a UK-based group which calls for tougher regulation on vaping to protect children.
Undoubtedly, these products are appealing to children, and the disposable throwaway nature, the pocket money price that is attached to them, does increase youth vaping. So the ban is a good thing.
If politicians agree this week to ban single-use e-cigarettes, it'll come into force in April.
Well, hopefully members will support it. We've got a lot of support from the consultation we've done. 89% of parents, I believe, supported the removal of single-use vapes, so that shows a powerful amount of support.
So while vaping is still considered a good alternative for adults who smoke, many are hoping this ban of disposable vapes will help clean up our streets and young people's lungs. Emma-Jane Blackman, BBC Channel Islands News, Jersey.
A review calls for changes to the way the government funds and runs secondary schools in Jersey, saying their budgets are under significant strain despite extra funding. Politicians reviewing education policy found families think secondary schools are a postcode lottery in Jersey and recommend giving parents and pupils more choice, more free sixth form set options and better support for teachers. It also questions whether the 14-plus testing system, which sees some pupils move to a selective school, is disruptive for children. An inquest has heard how fellow crew members tried to revive an off-duty ferry worker who died after falling into the water in a St Helier harbour. 63-year-old Bernard Chambon, who worked for the French company Montgil, died when he slipped on a mooring rope and fell between the company's two ferries at Victoria Pier in the early hours of July the 23rd last year. His inquest heard he'd drunk the equivalent of 15 units of alcohol. His death was ruled an accident. The company has since changed its alcohol policy. Now, the boss of a Guernsey cannabis company says the islands missed the chance to become an industry leader of medical cannabis. It was legalised in Guernsey in 2020. But now the UK's first fully approved and licensed medical cannabis factory is up and running. One local grower says Guernsey's been left behind.
I certainly think it's missed the opportunity. Certainly, the opportunity to be a first mover in this field. There was a golden opportunity back in 2019, 2020 to get the industry going, actually steal a march on various other jurisdictions. But unfortunately, due to various reasons, the rug was pulled out from under the industry and it failed.
Now, loneliness comes up a lot in conversation around Christmas, but for some, feeling alone is a feeling that lasts all year round, and it affects people of all ages. In fact, a survey last year revealed more young adults in Jersey now feel lonely than those in their older years. Emily Bell has been looking at efforts to bring people together and tackle loneliness.
Statistics regularly show that loneliness is a growing epidemic, and Jersey appears to have particularly high rates. A Statistics Jersey survey found last year that a quarter of adults questioned reported feeling lonely, and this especially impacts our older population.
I think as you get older, your friends move away, your children perhaps leave the island, and you've got a long day to fill, and I think people do get lonely because of the way society is today. We're not such a community-based society, unfortunately. I think it's very important for people to have mental stimulation, and it's important for them to have the interaction with others. I don't even think it's just a problem with the elderly. I think it's also a problem with the younger people as well.
The survey also found that 41% of 16 to 34-year-olds feel lonely. So, as the issue impacts all ages, what can be done? One woman found a unique solution. Start a football team.
I have made so many friends from this group and also got back with people who I already class as friends but I just haven't seen. And this is 1 hour a week where I can just have fun, laugh with my friends and just get some exercise. It's great.
Julie's Friday night come and play sessions have had a positive impact for the 35 women who attend.
I've seen mentally and physically how it can help somebody. It's outdoors, you're getting the fresh air, you're with a load of other people who are as into the sport as you are, and I don't know, it just lifts you.
But with so many people of different ages affected, is there enough conversation around the topic across the island?
It's not just the loneliness itself, but it's also the mental health aspect and how that could lead to depression. So I don't think people do appreciate how severe loneliness can affect people.
For those who can access support, it makes a world of difference.
What do you like so much about coming to Age Concern?
Well, it is really making friends. But a lot of people do feel lonely, and they come here and make friends with different ones.
So, while efforts are underway to bring people together, their message is that loneliness doesn't have to be permanent. Emily Bell, BBC Channel Islands News, Jersey.
Now let's take a look at a few other stories that have been making the news today in brief. The politician responsible for Guernsey's ferry tender process hopes the islands will reach agreement on inter-island services by the end of January. Brittany Ferries timetable has a ferry between Guernsey and Jersey 1 day a week. We're waiting for DFDS to publish its schedule. Jersey's Home Affairs Minister will look at increasing the age at which children can be arrested or charged with a crime. The age of criminal responsibility in Jersey is 10, but the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child recommends raising it to at least 14. And a Guernsey public toilet block is set to run on solar power as part of the island's commitment to green energy. The panels are installed on St Martin's Parish Hall and its adjoining toilet as part of a push to using more renewable power. Now from borscht and butternut squash to Thai pumpkin or a truffle velouté. There was plenty to tickle your taste buds at this year's soup kitchen in Jersey. People lined up in the cold drizzle to get their hands on some of the hot soup prepared by chefs, charities and groups to raise money for a homeless charity. Our communities reporter Chris Craddock went along to stir things up.
It's the slurp that makes a difference. Lunchtime in the Royal Square, and 40 fundraising soups are being served.
Oh, I think it's a great atmosphere. So this is my first year doing this, and the office I work in suggested that we all order soup, so we've done that, and I've come down with a colleague to help pick it up.
Well, I think it's a fantastic thing that happens every year, and it's a great work that the Shelter Trust does in Jersey, and obviously fantastically well organised.
It's obviously a great initiative each year to come down and support and do as much as we can, and yeah, it's become a bit of a fixture in the calendar in the office, so we all get sent out and do our best to support where we can.
This is the 26th time the fundraiser has bubbled away, and the team behind the soup kitchen worked hard to make sure it was another successful day out.
I'm doing this for the Shelter Trust because they do such a fantastic sterling job all year round. It's cold, it's wet, it's raining outside. People need a roof over their heads.
I'm always surprised at, these hotels and restaurants are just fantastic. They support us every year at this time of the year at Christmas, and we really appreciate it.
But there's also a lot of effort that goes into making these soups in the first place.
It's quite a chunky soup, this here. It's almost like a vegetarian Italian ragu almost, yeah? You can add pasta to dishes like this too, and it'll make a really, really healthy dinner.
We thought we'd support a very good cause and decided for the first time to make a soup for the soup kitchen.
I'm hoping that the other parishes will see that we're down there, and maybe next year we could have a challenge, a parish challenge, and see who can sell their soup the quickest or something like that. It would be really lovely if we could get more parishes to join.
And what was the verdict after all that hard work?
What was mine called? It's a Thai soup, I think, with lime, coriander, and coconut. And it's totally delicious.
Basically went in there and said to them, look, can you get me 6 or 7 of the best ones, and we'll bring them back to the office and let everyone try them. Went with that.
It's very curried, it's very spicy hot, so very curried.
Songs, smiles and plenty of soup. This year's fundraiser has simmered away nicely, and it's boiled over and reached the £250,000 fundraising landmark. Chris Craddock, BBC Channel Islands News, Jersey.
Delicious. Here's David with your weather. David, I think the weather is perfect for soup, isn't it?
It is, yes. Leek and potato, my favourite. I think we'll continue to see this cold weather, so a hot cup of soup is certainly going to be very welcome. We've got a lot of cloud. We've had a lot of cloud around today. This was Guernsey from earlier today. Briefly, the sun coming through, but I think in general we've got a lot of cloud to look forward to over the next couple of days. Rather cloudy with showers, the forecast again tomorrow, a cold wind as well. And even though the satellite picture doesn't show all of the cloud, it does show we've got high pressure in charge, and that's across the southern half of Scotland. We've got this easterly wind around this area of high pressure. That is continuing to blow for tonight and into tomorrow. It's probably a little bit less windy on Thursday, and we still have the high pressure close enough by on Friday, although we might see a few showers creeping up from the south Friday night and into Saturday. And then a weather front coming in from the northwest on Saturday will introduce milder air coming in off the Atlantic, so the temperatures will get back up into double figures this weekend. Not tonight, not tomorrow though. Lots of cloud, some showery outbreaks of rain here and there too. Minimum temperature of 4 or 5 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast has lots of cloud and a few showers dotted around. There'll be a few breaks in the cloud, but not many. I think it is another grey day. Not particularly warm day either. 8 or 9 degrees will be the top temperature. These are our times of high water. St Peter Port, that's at 2:16 and 14:46. Winds are from the east or northeast tomorrow, force 4 to 5, occasionally gusting 6, with showers and good, occasionally moderate visibility in those showers. The forecast for Thursday and Friday is a little bit brighter, not necessarily warmer, but certainly a lot brighter, and then milder as we go into the weekend. Charlie.
It certainly is chilly. Thank you very much, David. And my choice of soup would be lentil and bacon. Perfect for that weather heading our way. Right, that is it for the time being. Of course, you can join me for our late bulletin, as always, at 10:30. Bye for now.
Exeter Airport has announced new flights to Amsterdam. KLM Royal Dutch Airlines will start flying from Exeter to Schiphol from the end of March next year. The new route should be a boost to the airport and to the southwest economy. Our business reporter, Scott Bingham, has more.
KLM already operates out of Norwich, one of 3 other airports owned by the Rigby Group, in addition to Exeter. After months of negotiation, today it was announced that the Dutch airline will fly daily to and from Exeter, reconnecting the city with Amsterdam for the first time in 5 years.
This is really significant for us and great news for the airport and the local region.
Are we going to see future expansion there?
Well, that's certainly the hope, and the team will already be working on that. And if we can make this one a success, I'm sure more will follow.
The new route connects Exeter and the southwest not just to Amsterdam, but also to the rest of the world. KLM flies to 155 destinations, opening up direct onward connections, and Schiphol is also an international global hub.
Clearly, we see the UK market is the first market in Europe for KLM by far, and we are assessing on a regular basis any opportunity to continue to grow. And the southwest and the west country has been identified for years, and it's materializing today, so we are very happy with that.
From the end of March next year, there will be a daily flight 7 days a week, leaving Amsterdam at 4:15 in the afternoon and returning from Exeter at 5:20 local time. The previous connection under Flybe attracted around 60,000 passengers a year. The aim is for similar numbers, improving transport links, but also potentially boosting the regional economy by pulling in thousands of extra visitors.
It gives us opportunities for both inbound tourism, which is really critical for our bedrock industries in the southwest, but also that outbound piece to the rest of the world. And when I look at some of the economic activity that's going on in the southwest, we need these routes to bring inward investors in, so it is a really important route for us.
At its peak pre-COVID, Exeter Airport was handling around 1 million passengers a year. Since the pandemic, it's been steadily recovering, and this new service should see it approaching 600,000 again by the end of next year. Scott Bingham, BBC Spotlight, Exeter Airport.
Devon County Council is considering fining schools £21,000 for every child that gets excluded. The Conservative-run authority is looking to raise more than £5 million a year from the proposal as the number of exclusions continues to increase. The council says it needs to work together with schools on tackling the issue, and school representatives will get a chance to vote on the plans in January.
We're really shocked because the only reason that a school can permanently exclude a child is if their continued presence in the school is a risk to the health and safety of other pupils or a risk to their educational welfare. So it's not a punishment for a child to permanently exclude them, it's a necessity for the whole school.
Maybe heads have exhausted all other options and maybe exclusion is the only thing that they can think of, and yet Devon County Council will be proposing a sanction of £21,000 a year if the child is excluded. We need to find a better way, but for me it's just another example of the chaos that's going on in County Hall with all things children.
For people facing homelessness this Christmas, finding somewhere to stay is likely to be harder if they own a pet. According to the charity Street Vet, only around 10% of hostels in the country allow people to stay with their animal. Many will choose to sleep rough rather than abandon their companion. Spotlight's John Danks has been to Truro to see how the charity is helping out.
Hello. You are a friendly little thing, aren't you?
A roadside checkup for this 9-year-old Siberian husky. Some of the animals attending this pop-up clinic in Truro live on the streets with their owners.
These guys are so bonded to their animals. They spend all day, every day with them. They know them inside out, back to front. They're their best friends, and the relationship they have is like no other I've ever seen. And they take amazing care of them. They would feed the dog before they'd feed themselves, and we've seen that lots of times.
Wait, this is a Jack Russell. She's called Dottie, and this is my French Bulldog. She's called Theory.
Jo Thomas brings her dogs to the street vet once a month. Currently street homeless, she knows how hard it can be securing accommodation for both her and her pets.
One time I've even been offered a flat, was supposed to pick my keys up the day after, and they found out that I had 2 dogs and turned it away and said that I couldn't get it. So it was a bit heartbreaking, but I wouldn't give these 2 up for the world.
Well done, my sweet.
Good girl.
Only 10% or so of hostels accept animals at the moment, so we're trying to work with hostels around the country to be able to facilitate them to accept pets, be that through education, equipment, even something simple as a pet policy. So we have a street vet accredited hostel scheme. We've got approximately 30 hostels signed up.
It's an idea supported by the Cornish charity St Petrox, which provides accommodation for more than 160 people.
So having a pet, unfortunately, can force someone to having to make a really difficult decision, because so many housing providers and landlords won't allow pets, unfortunately. So here at St Petrox, we believe it's really important that if someone has a pet and they've been made homeless, we've got to try and find accommodation for them and their pet.
Do you need flea and worm stuff for her today, Martin?
Martin and his dog Josie do have somewhere to stay and are regular visitors to this veterinary outreach service.
It's brilliant, honestly, it's brilliant. You know, it's not so much for me as it's just for Josie, because I know she's okay.
Keeping their pets healthy and happy is one thing these owners are determined to do, whatever their circumstance. John Danks, BBC Spotlight, Truro.
Now, we've all heard of Cinderella, haven't we? The classic yarn of a put-upon young woman cleaning up after the ugly sisters and always getting a raw deal. But there could be a contender for this Christmas classic, courtesy of Plymouth's Barbican Theatre. Ciderella is a brand new alternative show, and although it deals with adult issues, we sent John Henderson along for a peek preview.
Lights, shopping and a show. Traditional Christmas stuff that for most can't be beaten.
Oh no, you can't!
But if the standard panto isn't quite your thing, this Plymouth venue's offering a festive alternative.
When I directed him in my own production of Waiting for Godot, it was a kind of a hipster remake about 2 vagrants in a coffee shop waiting for a Wi-Fi signal that never arrived.
So do we want to go from...
Ciderella, complete with the ugly misters, tells the story of a middle-aged barmaid and is definitely not for all the family.
Instead of a glass slipper, which would be incredibly uncomfortable, that we would incorporate a glittery HRT patch is what she's given instead of a glass slipper. So it's sort of to clear her brain fog so she can get to the brewery awards on time. So we've talked a lot about perimenopause, and so it's very embedded in the show.
A play within a play, the cast have even made a mockumentary about their important, noble work.
I did do 4 years in Holby City to be in an actual charity shop, Nigel.
In her first panto, Plymouth comedian Susie Bennett is playing the lead.
You don't know who I am? No, I'm sorry, I don't. I'm kind of a big deal in Plymouth. They call me the Jan or Diana, I'm like royalty.
And in the panto, her character's dealing with the menopause.
She's not only got to deal with her stepmum, she's got to deal with hot flushes and brain fog and forgetting things, which is interesting because it's mirroring my own life at the moment. So learning lines with perimenopause can be a problem, and, you know, taking all the supplements and all these things you have to negotiate, forgetting words in the middle of sentences. I'm surprised I've been coherent during this conversation.
Look at Sam.
It's not for children under 14, and if you're shy,
Spark.
There's nothing to worry about.
Potential. Acting potential.
There is audience participation, but I can't bear it when people just pull you out of the audience, because that's happened to me before, and I'm incredibly shy and I hate it.
Peanuts.
Salted or honey roasted?
The production starts a 2-week run on Friday.
Exploiting bumblebees now, are we?
John Henderson, BBC Spotlight at the Barbican Theatre, Plymouth.
And if Susie forgets the lines, she's got a good excuse. Let's have a look at the weather forecast now, and David's here. A little bit calmer?
It is calmer. It's generally rather cloudy, though. I've struggled to find Weather Watchers pictures, hello, good evening, that actually have a bit of sunshine. That was West Bay from earlier today. and a little bit of blue sky in Porlock. But yeah, as Victoria was saying, it is much, much quieter on the weather front. I know it's still been quite breezy, and the breeze this evening is still quite lively in places. That wind will gradually take time to drop, and it will take time, so it's not going to be an immediate thing, but certainly a lot less lively than the start of the week. So cold for tomorrow, mainly dry. Winds will continue to drop. I can't promise much in the way of sunshine, I'm afraid. We've got a lot of cloud around. Big satellite picture's not picking up all of that cloud. It is picking up where the centre of the area of high pressure is. That's over Scotland. And that doesn't move very far over the next 24 hours. So the same setup really for us tonight and tomorrow, with easterly winds, a fair amount of cloud through the English Channel. That might just drift a little further north tomorrow. Might trigger a few showers along the south coast of Devon and southern Cornwall. But apart from that, it's a dry story, and a story that stays really the same on Thursday. By Friday and into the weekend, there are some changes coming our way, perhaps a few more holes in the cloud on Friday, and then a cold front coming down from the northwest on Friday night and into Saturday. That will introduce a change because it opens the door to slightly less cold air, but also perhaps a better chance to see some breaks developing in the cloud, particularly on Saturday night, where potentially we could have another frosty night to look forward to. Not tonight though, lots of cloud tonight. Misty in places, but it's really a veil of cloud that sticks with us all the way through to the end of the night, and a minimum temperature of between 4 and 6 degrees. So it'll be frost-free. The breeze will be there again tomorrow morning, so that extra layer is needed again tomorrow because it's not going to be a particularly warm day. There are showers just along the English Channel coast, and some of those might just come a little bit further north during the course of the afternoon. But most of the day is dry. You struggle to find any holes in the cloud, but most likely along the North Cornwall coast, perhaps North Devon, seeing a few breaks in the cloud, allowing brief glimpses of sunshine, but I think they will be brief. These are our maximum temperatures, up to about 6 to 8 degrees tomorrow, very similar to what we've seen today. And of course, with that breeze, it feels colder than that. The forecast for the Isles of Scilly here, again, breezy and cold, often rather cloudy. Perhaps a chance of a few showers here tomorrow morning as well. Times of high water, Padstow, that's at 13:32, Portland 14:50 in the afternoon tomorrow. And the winds are from very similar direction. They're coming in from the east-northeast. They're up at around a force 4 or 5, occasionally 6 along the south coast with those showers. Otherwise, visibility is generally pretty good. So let's have a look at a little further ahead. Let's look at what's happening into the weekend. Not the best story to tell because there is a lot of cloud around as we go into the weekend, with a few spots of drizzle in the wind as well. But I think that cloud will break Saturday afternoon but return again on Sunday. So we could have quite a cold night Saturday night. Most of the clear sky overnight Saturday night rather than during the daytime, sadly. But it is warmer. We'll see those temperatures go back up to 10 or 11 degrees. So there is some good news, although it is often rather cloudy. Have a nice evening. Victoria.
10 or 11, you're spoiling us. Thanks, David. And thank you for joining us this evening. Heidi Davey will bring you the late news at 10:30, and we hope you'll join us again for Spotlight tomorrow. From all of us, good night.